Hey, it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. Alright, so we got another power stop video for you. Now, if you've been watching Axel's Garage for a while, you know we first came across power stop brakes just by chance, searching around on the internet. And we put a power stop brake kit in the front of my wife's '03 Yukon XL. And guys that are married, or I've said this before also, and I take a lot of heat for saying it from the women, but women are hard on brakes because they don't anticipate the traffic slowing down. They don't anticipate that red light, and it's just on the throttle until they're on the brake. So my wife, you know, burning up brakes in the Yukon XL all the time. So I went with the power stop, and I actually thought they were Chinese brakes. Turns out they're made in America, and we really like them. They had a tendency not to wear out. The rotors are zinc coated, they don't rust up, and they lasted until we actually got rid of that vehicle. So when it came time to do brakes on our Suburban back here, our '03 Suburban, which is our family workhorse and a lot of times our vacation vehicle, we put a lot of miles on the thing. I put the, and we, whenever we tow a car, we, you know, use this with our car trailer. We put the power stop severe duty brake truck and tow or something like that, brakes on it, and we got a video that we did that one, but we hadn't done the rear. And my wife was using the Suburban for a couple days, and of course whenever she uses my vehicles, honey, I hear a noise. Well, what kind of noise? I don't know, it's a noise. And I go for a ride, and sure enough, it's just the rear brakes are shot. Now I had driven it a couple days before that. There wasn't an indication that those rear brakes were going bad. And then within 3 days, it's just metal to metal. The rotor, I looked at the rotors through the wheels, and they look like shit. So I said, you know what? Let's just put a power stop kit in the rear of that, and that's what we have here. And another nice thing, I don't know if I said it earlier, was a real low brake dust for the power stop. Now, with the Suburbans and the Yukons and any trucks in this series, I think they were 2000 or '01 to '06, '07 they changed, but they don't have the ratcheting calipers. They have regular calipers, almost like you know, the fronts, and they have a brake shoe that goes in the hub of the rotor hub. So you got to get the brake shoe, and I got one of my Rural King box cutters. Those of you that live in an area of the country where there's Rural Kings, man, I love the Rural King. And if you don't know what a Rural King is, it's sort of like a Tractor Supply and a Walmart had a baby, and that's Rural King. But anyway, so I got these. These are not Power Stop. Power Stop doesn't make these. These are the brake shoes that go inside the rotor hub. This is for your parking brake or emergency brake. Depending on where in the country, some people call it a parking brake, some people call it an emergency brake. It's actually, I'm told, it's actually a parking brake, not an emergency brake. Years and years in the olden days, it was considered an emergency brake in a vehicle. And in the last 50 or 60 years, they said it's really designated as a parking brake. So, in the box with the power stop brakes, all right, you get we got here their Extreme Series severe duty truck and tow brake pads. It's the Extreme, all right, the little logo there, all right. There it is. Comes with a packet of lube. Comes with the clips that you need, and a set of the brake pads. I like the stuff. Low dust, stops well, and lasts for a long time. I think the front set that we have in the Suburban here is probably a year and a half, 2 years, and a shitload of miles, and they don't even look worn. The rotors aren't rusted at all. They're zinc coated. They don't even look worn. You also got a bag of boots. I guess these are the Caliper bolt boots in this bag here. See the little boots in there. All right, and then you got a box in a box. The rotors are marked made in China. They weren't the first time we did this, and I assume they were made in China. And people beat me up online for saying, oh, it's probably some Chinese thing. These are actually marked made in China in this box. But listen, if those other ones were made in China, it's not bad because they were really good and they lasted, and I still got a set on in the front of this Suburban, and it lasted. But you can see these big. They're slotted and cross-drilled, zinc-coated rotors. All right, they are directional because of the slotting. And it says it right on it. It's like this one, rear driver's side, so you can't screw that up. And inside here, in this surface right here, is where that brake shoe is going to ride. And that brake shoe, the only job that that shoe does is to expand a little bit for your parking brake. So you really don't have to be that critical with that. But these are real nice, and we're going to put them on the Suburban here. Yes, dear. So I don't know what's made in China. I know the wall. Okay, let's see. The rotors are in a box marked made in China. Let's see what the brake pads say, because, like I said, I did get beat up a little bit because they were saying, oh, they're American made. Power Stop Performance for Life, Z36 Truck and Tow Extreme Carbon Fiber Brake Pads. All right. Does not say where it's made, which is kind of odd, because you would think if it was made in the United States, they would want to say, hey, these are made in the United States. And it doesn't say clean ride, low dust technology, which is true. Premium hardware, thermal scorch, fast braking. Doesn't say. See what it says on the package where the brake pads are actually in. Nope. Doesn't say where it's made. Alright. Hardware kit's made in China. It says that on it. Alright, so if anybody knows, put in the comments below. I don't know where they're made. To be honest with you, I was happy when the people commented when we did the first Power Stop brake video that they were American made. If they were at the time, great. If they're not now, oh well. If they're just as good as they were with that first and second set, the fronts on the Yukon XL and the fronts on the Suburban are awesome. So if they were made in China all along, I don't give a shit. The stuff works, the parts are good, they appear to be high quality, and they last, low brake dust. I like them, so I don't give a shit where they're made. Alright, so we're going to get started on this. Let me get the truck jacked up and the wheel off, and I'll show you the couple of little things that I've run into, problems that I've experienced over the years working on the rears of these series trucks. Alright, so I got the wheel off. I took off the two caliper bolts. They're not your traditional caliper bolt, like, you know, it's just a little bolt that holds the caliper there. And then I don't remember. Oh, it comes up pretty easy. I don't remember whether these give you a hard time or not. Sort of pry the caliper off like you would on a normal set of brakes. Alright, what I did do was I did soak the bleeder screw down with some penetrating oil so that I could bleed them. I do get a little creep if you don't have steady pressure on the brakes when you stop at a light or something. Alright, and you got your pads. Alright, actually this side doesn't. Oh, yeah, that was bad. Whew. That's where the noise was coming from. The other side's pretty wiped out too. And now you got to get your caliper bracket off in order to get this rotor off. So let me squeeze around and see what size that is. Okay, these are 18 millimeter. So let me get a nice 18 millimeter socket. They usually aren't pretty tight. So once you get them broken loose, I use a breaker bar, half-inch breaker bar to get them loose. Then a little 3/8 ratchet, pull them out. These didn't feel like they were as tight as the front caliper brackets are really tight. These didn't seem nearly as bad. Alright, caliper bracket. Now you should be able to caliper, get the rotor off, and here's those brake pads. Now, the one issue that we've had with these, doing them over the years, is there's a little bracket with a screw that holds them on right there. A little small bolt, screw, whatever you want to call it. Try to soak that real good with penetrating oil because they have a tendency to snap off. And we want to try to get that off in one piece. So what I will do is probably apply a little bit of heat to it and then some more penetrating oil, and then we'll pull it off. But let me let this soak for 10 minutes. I think we just got the call for dinner time anyway. Alright, so I sprayed this down a bunch of times. This is the screw right here that holds the bracket, which holds these shoes on. And there's also two holes in the top of this part of the shoe. So I tried to spray it down as much as possible because these things they rust in there, and they have broken off on us in the past. It's an 8mm head on the bolt. It's a little tough to get into, but I'm not going to force it because it's probably going to break like I think every other older one. I know in Michelle's old Yukon XL has broke. So, and another one that I've done in the past broke. So I sprayed it down. I'm going to add a little bit of heat. See if we can just warm it up a little bit. Maybe it'll move the metal to get some of that penetrating oil in. I don't know. Really can't heat it up too much because you got your rear end here, and there's probably seals and whatnot. Alright, and that did the trick. Alright, so just a little bit of heat, some penetrating oil. Alright, so now that's free. On the bottom end, they're just sitting on what's similar to be like a wheel cylinder. You sort of just have to get these off like that. So these two tabs here are sitting on like a little mini wheel cylinder. It's on the bottom. You know, as long as your brake's not pressed, there's no adjustment to them or anything. It's just sitting there. So when you put the new one in, you just do the same thing. Slide this in between, put your bracket on to hold it back in place, and it's that simple. So let me get the new one. We'll put that new one on. So here's the two new ones. If you put them together there, oh, it looked like there was a left and a right. If you put them exactly together, they're only a hair off from each other. I don't think that that's actually a left and a right. Oh no, those other top screws. Let's see. So I don't know if there's a left and a right, but they are slightly different. This one, the original one, am I off camera here? I was kind of lining them up together. The original one matches up to the new one with this one. I'm looking at the holes on top. They're slightly different than each other. I don't think it really matters, but just in case, we're going with that. Alright, to get it on, you sort of like have to twist it on like that, and you get it on. Now, it does come with new hardware. Seems like a lot of stuff in this bag. This is the clip that came out. These other clips don't even look to be the same. That one looks close. Alright, all the clips in the bag are a little different. To be honest with you, it almost looks like any one of them will work. Oh, look at this one. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so there's our answer is, comes with several clips, and I would guess the reason why it comes with several clips because it probably fits multiple applications. And the only thing different is the clips. So it also comes with screws. I guess this is the new screw. I like my old screw. Looks like it's a little bit of quality, so what I'm just going to do is I'm going to spray some penetrating oil on my original screw, just to help any kind of rust. Alright, slide the new clip in just like the old clip was. Just want to get it started. Alright, 8mm socket. Snug it up. Alright, and this thing's around, they're not going anywhere. The only thing you should probably do is use some brake cleaner and clean the greasy fingerprints off. These aren't stopping shoes, so that probably really doesn't matter a whole lot. If you have rotted backing plates, you cut them away. Like I cut most of these away already. We'll just make sure they're out of the way. Anyway, the next step is to put the rotor on. Make sure you grab the right rotor, you put the rotor on. I like to spin a lug nut on just to hold the rotor in place while I put the caliper bracket on. So we take the one marked passenger side, get that on there, like that. And this fits on the shoe so nice and snug that you don't even need to put a lug nut on. If it was like flopping off on you like the fronts usually do, you throw a lug nut on here and it'll hold it tight up against the thing, but that's not the case with this one. So, in the meantime, I'll take the caliper bracket. Caliper bracket gets little sliders that go on it like this. They come with the new brake pads, so we're going to take the new sliders, we're going to pop them in, and then we can bolt our caliper bracket back up. In the meantime, I'll give my bleeder screw another shot of penetrating oil brackets. Pop them in. Right, you like push them into the grooves and they pretty much stay there. If they fall out while you're doing it, then well, you'll have to put them in when you put the brake pads in. But they usually stay there. Alright. They're on there. Caliper bracket's going to go back on like this. Yeah, there's probably a torque spec for this. I'm just making good and tight. Alright. Now we got our little slider brackets in there, and now we can start working on the caliper, which I got hanging out over there. Alright, so we take this caliper. We got to slide these pistons back in. They don't ratchet or anything like the calipers that have built-in parking brakes. So these slide right back in just like a regular, standard front caliper. Because the parking brake is that shoe assembly, it's not built into the caliper, so there's no like ratcheting or anything like that. So I like to go just nice and slow. Shouldn't be a lot of pressure, shouldn't be real hard. Just do it slow so that you don't pop something. Alright, once it's all the way in, you should see it all the way in. I mean, you'll feel it, it bottoms out. And you know you're all the way in. Alright, so that one's all the way in. Now you can take your new brake pads. So this one, Alright, here's my back brake pad, which has no wear sensors. That's why we didn't get any warning that the brakes were going bad. And here's the outer one, right, which it's got plenty of meat on it and it never hit the sensors, and that's why we never heard it. These have a sensor on both, apparently. Let me check the others. Make sure they're all the same. Yeah, so these are, so the inner, I should say, slides into the bracket there, and up top, let me get this caliper out of the way. Caliper there, and this one is going to slide into the groove there, and into the groove on the bottom over here. This outside one is going to do the same thing. You got a groove there, and you got a groove down here that this one's going to slide into as well. And you just got to finagle them in a little bit. Go around on this side. Same thing we did in the front. Okay, make sure the pads are tight against the rotor so that when we take our caliper, when we slide our caliper over, the caliper slides right over without a hard time because the pads are all the way in. Alright, the new kit also comes with a new spring dicky in there. I'm just going to leave the old one there. There it is. Same thing with this one. Screwed in nice. Grab your 12mm this was. Put a little 12mm on a 3/8 breaker bar and give it a little tap. Make it nice and snug. Alright, see how the caliper is free to slide, which it'll take up its own space the first time you put your foot on the brake. Alright, my bleeder is right on top. It's nice and lubed. I'm not going to bleed right now. I'll do that during the week once I get the other side done, because I don't know if I'm going to get the other side done in the dark here. I'm losing the light awful fast. Alright? But that is one side complete. Alright, I can throw the wheel up on this side and we're good on this side. Alright, so that's it with the power stop brakes. I just gotta, move the truck around, do the other side, and then I want to bleed the brakes. Primarily because, like I said, I have a little creep if you're not holding decent pressure. Like when you're sitting at a light and you got a light foot on the brake, the car tends to creep a little bit. But if you give a little bit steadier pressure, it doesn't move. And I have a feeling that they just need to be bled. I know that years ago, probably 3 years ago, I broke a brake line. Put a new brake line in. I don't think they were bled. That's around the time when this started. So we got that bleeder screw soaking. I'll do the other side real quick before I completely lose the light. I mean, for video purposes, I'm losing the light, but I should be able to get the other side done, and then maybe tomorrow or the next day, I'll have the big dummy or the little big dummy come out and help me bleed the brakes out. The only problem and the only hitch to these older vehicles that have some rust shit, you can see how the backing plates all rotted out. Make sure that none of that is touching your rotor or getting involved in your parking brake, it's that parking brake clip. So spraying it down and heating it up just a little bit, and I didn't heat up much because you do have seals and bearings and shit at the end of the axle there. Just gave it a little bit just to warm it up, so let that penetrating oil maybe get in, you know, have a little bit of an expansion and contraction of the metal to let that penetrating oil get in, and it came right out nice and easy. Sprayed some oil on it before I put it back in, so that if I ever have to do it again, which at 180,000 miles, I'm hoping that I never have to do the parking brake shoe again. Should be the last one for that. In the link below, I'll have a description to where you can, I'll have a link where you can buy the whole kit, and the kit comes with the rotors, the pads, the shims, all the crap that you need, except for the parking brake shoe. That parking brake shoe comes from a regular brand. Power Stop doesn't make it. It's not really something that you need severe duty. It's just for a parking brake. But I'll have a link to that also in the description below. Hope you enjoyed this one. It was sweaty for me. It took a long time only because we stopped because we had company over for dinner. So I did have to stop and do a little entertaining. And then I got back out here, and now I'm going to do the other side in the dark with a flashlight because that's just what we do. That's it today from Axel's Garage. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up. Come on, thumbs up. Leave a comment. Say something. Say hi. And if you really like what we're doing here at Axel's, come on, subscribe to the channel. Got a lot of informative videos coming up. We have a ton. It's actually, what is it, the end of July 2019, and we have probably 3 or 4, if not, we have videos that still need to be edited that I did when it was cold. So you might not see this one for a month or two. We're doing the best we can over here. We got a lot of work going on, and the editing takes the longest. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.